The icy wind tore across the barren plains of Krivos 9, making the small human research team huddle closer to their damaged shuttle. Captain Ethan Vale tugged his thermal jacket tighter and scanned the horizon. The storm had come suddenly, leaving behind jagged sheets of ice that glinted under the dim light of Krivos 9's sun. "Supplies won't last much longer," murmured Dr. Lena Hart. Checking the remaining rations. "We have maybe 2 days of food if we stay put." Ethan nodded but didn't reply immediately. He was focused on something else. A faint shimmer far ahead caught his attention. At first he thought it was an optical illusion caused by the ice, but then he saw it move. He grabbed his binoculars. There, in the middle of the frozen plain, something or someone was struggling against the storm. The figure was tall, humanoid in shape, but unlike any human he had ever seen. A faint glow radiated from its body, as if its skin were alive with soft light. "Everyone, stay here," Ethan said calmly. "I'm going to check it out," the team protested, but Ethan's calm authority left little room for argument. He trudged through the snow, each step slow and deliberate. The air was sharp, making his lungs burn, but he pressed on. As he got closer, he saw the figure had collapsed under a sheet of ice debris. Carefully, Ethan approached and knelt beside her. The alien woman looked fragile, almost delicate, with bioluminescent patterns running across her skin in shifting shades of blue and green. Her eyes were large, reflecting the icy light like pools of liquid crystal. She trembled from the cold, and despite the storm, she tried to push him away. Ethan raised his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said slowly. "Do you need help?" The alien stared at him for a long moment. Then, with a hesitant gesture, she nodded. Ethan carefully lifted the ice debris and helped her stand. Her movements were graceful yet cautious, as though every step had to be measured. "You're freezing," Ethan said, his voice soft. "I don't know if you understand me, but you need warmth." He pulled out his thermal sleeping bag and held it open. "Here. You can share it with me until we get to shelter." For a heartbeat, the alien woman hesitated. Then, with a subtle tilt of her head, she stepped closer and allowed him to wrap her in the sleeping bag. Ethan noticed that she radiated a faint heat, but it was not enough to withstand Krivos 9's freezing winds. They huddled together, the sleeping bag shielding them from the storm. Ethan could feel her trembling slowly subside. He spoke quietly, hoping she might understand something. "I'm Ethan. I'm human. You're safe with me." The alien didn't reply in words. Instead, she made a soft musical sound that resonated strangely in the icy air. Ethan smiled, interpreting it as a form of acknowledgement. Hours passed in silence, broken only by the wind's howl and the distant cracking of ice. Ethan watched her closely. Her glowing patterns shifted, almost like she was expressing her thoughts or emotions. He had read about alien communication methods, but nothing described this exactly. Somehow, he sensed curiosity and caution, two emotions familiar yet foreign. Finally, the storm lessened. Ethan helped her to her feet and led her to the research camp, a small cave-like structure they had used for temporary shelter. The other team members stared in awe at her. Is she alive?" Lena asked, her voice trembling with excitement. "She is," Ethan replied. "And she's intelligent. Look at her patterns. I think she's trying to communicate." Lyra had decided to call her that, after hearing her soft, melodic vocalizations moved slowly inside the shelter. Her skin continued to glow softly, illuminating the walls with gentle, moving colors. Ethan gave her some of their remaining thermal blankets and hot packs. She hesitated at first, then accepted them, wrapping herself carefully. She didn't touch any of the food yet, but her gaze followed Ethan as he moved around the camp. "We need to communicate," Lena said. "Even basic understanding could save us. If she's alone, she might know something about the planet." Ethan nodded. He crouched beside Lyra. "I don't know your language," he said, "but I can teach you some gestures. You can show me what you want." Lyra tilted her head, then extended a glowing hand toward him. Her fingers traced patterns in the air, almost like she was drawing invisible shapes. Ethan realized these gestures weren't random. They had meaning. Slowly, he began mirroring her motions, and she responded with a subtle nod. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Trust was forming between them. Night fell, and the temperature dropped even further. Ethan watched as Lyra curled slightly under the blankets. Despite her alien appearance, she seemed vulnerable, fragile in a way that made him instinctively protective. He wondered about her species, her home, and how she had ended up stranded on this icy world. For the first time since the crash, Ethan allowed himself to relax. There was something extraordinary about meeting another intelligent being in such harsh conditions. But beyond the shock and awe, he realized a deeper truth. Human kindness could reach across species, even across galaxies. As he drifted towards sleep, Ethan noticed something strange. Lyra's glowing patterns shifted rhythmically, almost like she was sending him a message in a language of light. He felt a faint impression in his mind, not words, but emotions, curiosity, trust, and a desire to understand. Ethan smiled. "I don't understand your language," he whispered, "but I think we can learn from each other." Hours later, while the rest of the team slept, Ethan woke to the sound of the alien humming softly. She was experimenting, moving her glowing fingers over the sleeping bag, creating subtle, intricate patterns. For a moment, Ethan felt an unexpected connection. It wasn't just that he had saved her. She was reaching out in a way that no human had ever reached him before. He realized that this was only the beginning. Their encounter could change everything, not just for their survival on Krivos 9, but for humanity's understanding of the universe. Outside, the wind howled again, but Ethan didn't feel fear. He felt hope, a rare and fragile feeling in this frozen, hostile world. He had offered warmth, and in return, he had found something even more valuable: trust, curiosity, and the potential for friendship across the stars. The first contact was made. And in that moment, Ethan Vale knew that humanity's strength wasn't just in technology or weapons. It was in empathy, courage, and the willingness to reach out. Even in the coldest and most dangerous places, the storm would pass. But the bond between human and alien had begun. It was unexpected, extraordinary, and entirely human. The morning sun barely broke through Krivos 9's thick clouds. Ethan Vale rubbed his eyes, still feeling the chill of the icy night. The alien woman, Lyra, lay near the thermal generator, her glowing patterns dim but steady. She watched him as he moved about the small camp, curiosity shining in her bioluminescent eyes. Ethan studied her carefully. She had survived the storm, yes, but there was more to her than fragile beauty. She radiated a quiet intelligence that seemed almost beyond human comprehension. "Captain, you need to decide what to do," said Lena, her voice tinged with urgency. "Supplies are low, and we can't stay here long. The shuttle is still out of commission." Ethan nodded. "I know, but I think Lyra can help. She may have abilities we don't understand yet." The others looked skeptical. "Abilities? Captain, she's just an alien," said Jared, one of the younger team members. "We don't even know if she's friendly." "She's alive. She accepted help, and she trusts us," Ethan replied firmly. "That's enough reason to try." Ethan approached Lyra and made slow, deliberate gestures. "Can you help us? Can you show us what you can do?" Lyra tilted her head, and then, almost imperceptibly, a faint pulse of light ran through her body. She extended her hand toward the camp's frozen generator. The device shuddered slightly. Sparks danced across its surface, and warmth began to radiate from it. The humans gasped. "She's fixing it," Lena whispered. Ethan nodded slowly. "Not just fixing. She's manipulating energy. Look at the way she does it. She doesn't touch wires, yet it works." Lyra then moved toward the remaining frozen food containers. A gentle wave of light passed over them. The ice slowly melted, leaving the rations unharmed but ready to eat. The team stared in awe. "Captain, this is incredible," Jared said, his earlier skepticism replaced by wonder. "She's saving us." Ethan gave a small smile. "Not just saving. She's teaching us something important. Observe how she combines energy and precision. That's her strength. But notice how careful she is. Nothing wasted, nothing broken. Humanity needs that too, careful thinking and action." She seemed eager to learn about humans too. She watched as they repaired broken equipment using their ingenuity, mirroring their gestures with subtle pulses of light. Slowly, they established a rhythm of silent cooperation. But Krivis-9 was not done testing them. Around midday, a low humming sound echoed from the frozen plains outside. Ethan raised a hand to signal silence. The sound grew louder, rhythmic, metallic thrum. Then, moving against the snow, a small group of hostile aliens appeared. They were strange, insect-like creatures with jagged exoskeletons. Clearly searching for someone or something. They're looking for her, Ethan said grimly. Lyra must have escaped them. Lyra's glowing patterns shifted rapidly, like a storm in miniature. She stepped close to Ethan, her gaze meeting his. No words passed between them, but he felt a surge of trust and understanding. Everyone listen, Ethan said to his team. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're protecting Lyra. Follow my lead and use everything we have. The hostile patrol approached the camp. Ethan quickly assessed the terrain. The ice formations could be used as natural barriers. Lena and Jared set up makeshift defenses. While Ethan coordinated with Lyra, Lyra's abilities revealed themselves in ways the humans had not anticipated. She manipulated the energy fields around the camp, creating shimmering barriers that deflected the creatures' attacks. But she did so sparingly, letting the humans' strategies guide her actions. Ethan realized something important. Her power was impressive, but human ingenuity was just as vital. Without their tactics, she could not fully utilize her abilities. Together, they formed a team that was stronger than the sum of its parts. The creatures struck again. But Ethan and his team were ready. They had created clever traps using ice, ropes, and basic tools. Lyra amplified the traps with pulses of energy, making them more effective. Each attack from the aliens was met with a combination of human thinking and alien power. During the fight, one creature broke through the barrier and lunged at Lyra. Without hesitation, Ethan threw himself in front of her, pushing her out of the way. The creature staggered back, momentarily stunned. Lyra's patterns flared bright. She emitted a wave of energy that immobilized the attackers without harming them. "Captain, are you okay?" Lena shouted, rushing to his side. Ethan nodded, brushing off snow and ice. "I'm fine. But look at her, that was remarkable. She's not just powerful. She understands morality. She chooses to neutralize threats without unnecessary harm." After what felt like hours, the patrol retreated, leaving the camp in silence. Ethan surveyed the scene. No humans were seriously hurt, and Lyra was unharmed. The alien creatures had learned a lesson. This small human team, with one alien ally, was not to be underestimated. That night, as the humans huddled together for warmth, Ethan watched Lyra. She had been quiet, almost meditative, her glowing patterns soft and gentle. He approached her and spoke softly. "You saved us, and yet you did not strike out in anger. You followed reason. That's very human too, you know. We fight, but we also value life." Lyra tilted her head. She reached out with her glowing fingers, tracing a pattern in the air. Ethan watched, understanding dawning slowly. She was communicating gratitude, trust, and something deeper, a bond that transcended language. Ethan smiled. "I don't fully understand your ways," he said, "but we can learn from each other. You've shown me that strength comes in many forms, not just raw power." The humans sat quietly, reflecting on the day's events. They had faced danger, but they had survived not just because of technology or skill, but because of human courage, quick thinking, and empathy. And now with Lyra, they had an ally who expanded their understanding of the universe. Ethan realized that their survival depended not just on themselves, but on the cooperation between species. Humanity's ability to empathize, to reach out, and to adapt, these were qualities that even advanced aliens respected. Outside, the icy wind howled, but inside the small camp, a sense of hope filled the air. Lyra moved among the humans, experimenting with their tools, learning, and teaching. Each gesture was a small lesson in understanding and trust. Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. Krivus 9 was a harsh world, and more challenges would come. But for the first time since they had crash-landed, he felt confident. Together, humans and Lyra could face anything, as the team settled to rest. Ethan thought about the unexpected bond that had formed. He had offered warmth in the cold, and in return, he had found an ally, a teacher, and a friend. Humanity's greatest strength was not weapons or technology, was empathy, courage, and the willingness to act selflessly, even in the face of danger. And now, for the first time on Krivus 9, they were not alone. The night passed quietly, but Ethan knew the challenges were far from over. The universe was full of unknowns, and danger could return at any moment. But he also knew something else. With trust, understanding, and courage, humanity could thrive. Hivand on a distant, icy world among the stars, and Lyra, the mysterious alien woman, had become more than just a survivor. She was a symbol of possibility, the potential for friendship, understanding, and a future where humans could shine among the stars. The next morning on Krivus 9, the sky was pale and cold, but calm. The storm had passed, leaving the ice plains sparkling under the weak sunlight. Ethan Vale stood at the edge of the camp, looking out at the frozen landscape. The hostile patrol had retreated, but he knew it was only a matter of time before they returned or that something worse would come. Lyra hovered nearby, her glowing patterns shifting softly. She had spent the night observing the humans as they repaired the camp and gathered supplies. Although she had incredible abilities, she was learning to work alongside humans, rather than simply acting alone. Ethan found that deeply reassuring. Captain Lena said, approaching him with a small scanner. "We can try to repair the shuttle now. We have some time before anything comes back." Ethan nodded. "Good, but we need to stay alert. Lyra's patrol might be scouting the area." Lyra floated closer to Ethan, her soft glow brightening. She extended her hand and a subtle pulse of energy moved through the air. Ethan felt the familiar impression, again her way of asking to help. "All right," he said. "Let's see what you can do together." Lyra touched the damaged parts of the shuttle. Energy flowed from her hands into the metal and circuits. Sparks danced, but instead of causing damage, the energy seemed to heal and realign the components. Ethan and the human team followed her lead, using tools to assist and guide the repairs. Step by step, the shuttle began to hum with life again. As the day progressed, they worked in perfect harmony. Ethan realized that Lyra's power was incredible. Yes, but it was the combination of human ingenuity, strategy, and perseverance that made the repair possible. Her abilities amplified what they already had, creating something stronger than either species could achieve alone. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed across the ice plains. Ethan froze. He could see a dark line moving in the distance. Another patrol? Or something more dangerous? Lyra's glow brightened, almost like a warning signal. The team immediately sprang into action. They had no choice if the shuttle was to leave Krivus 9. They had to survive this encounter. The threat came into view, a larger group of hostile aliens, more organized and aggressive than before. They were fast, precise, and clearly searching for Lyra. Ethan took a deep breath. "Everyone, defend the shuttle," he shouted. "Follow the plan. Work with Lyra." Lyra's patterns pulsed rapidly. She moved in a fluid, almost dance-like motion, creating energy barriers around the camp and shuttle. The humans used ice formations, ropes, and equipment to slow the attackers. Ethan coordinated the defense, directing each team member while Lyra's energy amplified their efforts. A creature broke through one barrier. Lunging toward Lyra, Ethan reacted instinctively, throwing himself in front of her. The creature staggered, stunned by the force of his push. Lyra's glow flared brightly, sending a wave of energy that immobilized the attackers without harm. The humans cheered silently. They were surviving, but more importantly, they were learning from each other. Ethan realized something profound. Lyra's power alone was formidable, but it was human courage and empathy that made the victory possible. Humans were not just fighters. They were thinkers, planners, and moral beings. Lyra respected that. As the hostile aliens finally retreated, Ethan and his team checked for injuries. Miraculously, no one was seriously hurt. Lyra floated among them, her patterns softening into gentle waves of color. A clear sign of relief and trust. Ethan approached her and spoke quietly. "You've helped us survive, Lyra. But more than that, you've shown me something important. Strength isn't just power, it's courage. It's teamwork. It's kindness. That's what humans can offer." Lyra extended her hand, tracing glowing patterns in the air. Ethan watched closely, understanding her message: respect, gratitude, and connection. She was acknowledging humanity's unique qualities, even as she shared her own. With the immediate danger past, the team turned their attention back to the shuttle. They had worked tirelessly, but now it was functional. The engines hummed steadily, and the navigation systems blinked alive. Ethan felt a surge of hopes. Soon they would leave this frozen world. Before departure, Ethan took a moment to speak with Lyra alone. "You could leave any time," he said. "Your patrol might still be nearby. Why stay with us?" Lyra's patterns shimmered in a slow, deliberate rhythm. She reached out and lightly touched Ethan's shoulder. He felt a warmth and understanding, almost like a silent promise. She was staying because she trusted humans, because she respected their courage, and because she had formed a bond with them. Ethan smiled. "I don't fully understand your species yet," he said, "but I do understand this. We can face the universe together. Not as separate beings, but as allies." Lyra's glow brightened once more, sending a soft pulse through the camp. It was a signal of agreement, a silent promise that the bond they had formed was real and lasting. The humans and Lyra climbed into the shuttle. Ethan sat in the pilot's seat, his hands steady on the controls. Lena and Jared checked the systems while Lyra hovered near the energy core, her glow stabilizing the power flow. The engines roared to life, and for the first time in days, the shuttle lifted off the icy ground as they ascended. Krivos 9 stretched out below them, a frozen, dangerous world that had tested them, challenged them, and taught them the value of cooperation and trust. Ethan glanced at Lyra, who hovered near the cockpit, her patterns now calm and radiant. "You see that?" he said softly. "This planet, it tried to break us. But we didn't just survive. We adapted. We worked together. We showed courage, kindness, and intelligence. That's humanity." Lyra's patterns pulsed in acknowledgement, and Ethan knew she understood. In that moment, he realized the universe was vast and full of challenges, but humanity had something unique: the ability to reach out, to act selflessly, and to create bonds that could transcend species. As the shuttle entered orbit, Ethan looked back at Krivos 9, a world that had almost defeated them. Instead of fear, he felt pride. Humanity's strength was not in technology alone, but in empathy, ingenuity, and courage. Lyra had shown them her abilities, but they had shown her something equally important: the heart of humanity. Before leaving Krivos 9 entirely, Lyra extended a glowing hand. From her palm emerged a small, bioluminescent tokena crystal-like object that shimmered with soft light. Ethan took it carefully, understanding the gesture. It was a symbol of trust, respect, and friendship across species. "Thank you," Ethan whispered. "We'll remember this, and we'll remember you." Lyra's glow flared one final time before dimming to a gentle light. Then, with a subtle pulse, she moved toward the shuttle's observation window, looking out at the stars. Ethan followed her gaze and smiled. For all the dangers in the galaxy, there was hope, connection, and a reminder that humanity could thrive anywhere. The shuttle sped away from Krivos 9, leaving behind a frozen world that had tested their limits. But it also left a profound lesson: when humans act with empathy, courage, and intelligence, they can face any challenge, even the unknown. Lyra remained with them, a reminder that understanding, respect, and cooperation were more powerful than fear or force. Humanity had not only survived, they had inspired trust and friendship across the stars. Ethan Vale leaned back in his seat, watching the stars stretch past the viewport. "This is just the beginning," he said softly. The universe is vast, and we're ready. And for the first time in a long time, he felt completely certain of one thing: humanity was extraordinary. And together with allies like Liara, there was nothing they could not face. The stars beckoned. Full of mysteries and challenges, but Ethan knew one truth above all: human courage. Empathy and ingenuity would always shine brightly. No matter how dark the galaxy, and Lyra, the alien who had once been a stranger in the storm, had become more than an Alishi, had become a symbol of the unexpected beauty that happens when species choose to trust, respect, and learn from one another. The journey ahead was unknown. But Ethan and his team faced it with hearts full of hope and a renewed belief in the boundless potential of humanity.